This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Welcome back here. I'm very glad to have you back for part 2 of turning this maternity skirt into this lovely autumn coat. So last week we assembled pretty much the entire body of the coat so that this is currently what we're working with. I am very happy with where this is going so far and I cannot wait to see the end result. So this week we're going to attach the collar, the sleeves, the lining, the buttons, just finish the whole thing, wrap it up, and hopefully by the end of this week we will have a fully functioning, beautiful autumn coat. So if I'm not mistaken, the next step to take here is to attach the collar, just the under collar, which will be this piece right here, and then after that we're going to do the sleeves. Let's get this started. I really cannot wait to see how this will turn out. I think it's going to be absolutely gorgeous and I'm really excited. So let's get this collar on. I wanted to take a moment here to thank today's sponsor, as this video is very kindly sponsored by Squarespace. And Squarespace is the place to go if you run a small business and are looking to build a website for it. You don't need any prior experience with website building. Squarespace has an AI system, it's called Blueprint AI, that walks you through the entire process of basically building a template from scratch for your website that has all of the functionalities you need, cool design elements that you want, and it basically sets you up with a blank canvas that you can then go and add your pictures to, your brand identity, and all of the content and information that you need on your website. It can actually even help you with that. The AI can help you write some copy, paraphrase things to a different tone of voice, or whatever it is that you would like some help with. It's a great tool for all of that. But Squarespace also have a vast library of already made templates that you can start from, or even just browse through for inspiration before you get started making your own. They have some wonderful sales tools, whether you sell physical products or digital products. They can help you manage your payments, your inventory, calculate shipping costs for you. They offer some really easy and comfortable ways for your customers to pay. So it's definitely worth checking out if you're looking to build a website for your small business or larger business, honestly. And even if you're not running a business, but just want to put yourself out there, share your portfolio, start a blog, whatever it is, Squarespace is a wonderful place to start. So you can head to squarespace.com, start a free trial, play around, and then once you're ready to launch your website, you can head to squarespace.com/Loepsie and use code Loepsie to get 10% off of your first purchase of a website or domain. It just keeps getting better. I think it would have been absolute perfection if I had been able to pattern match the position of the sleeves to the bodice, but that is like expert level pattern matching. I'm not there quite yet. And also, I don't think I would have had the fabric to do that. I'm very glad I got the body to match, and at least the sleeves match each other, which is something. But oh gosh, it looks so good with the sleeves. I am utterly obsessed with this coat. Obsessed. So it is time now to start working on the lining, which is fun and exciting. So as I mentioned last week, I have all of the pattern pieces here lined up on the floor on the actual lining fabric that I'm going to use. So all I need to do is cut those out. I have the second piece of lining fabric here. Since they are not the same shape, I couldn't stack them. So I'm going to have to cut all of those pattern pieces out twice. But it's gonna be okay. And also I still have to do the facing, or I cut a piece of the facing. We did briefly discuss this last week. I forgot about the facing and that it needs to be made out of the same fabric. So I tried to cut out as much as I could, but I'm short just a little bit. So what I think I'm gonna do is just piece this together. I do have this much fabric left, I'm sure, somewhere among all of those offcuts. So I will just piece this, and then I'll have my facing. I don't think it matters much on the bottom, on the inside. The most important thing is this right here, which is going to be the collar. So as long as that is all one piece, which it is, I think we're going to be fine. Oh, by the way, by piecing, I mean I'll just cut this portion out of a second piece of fabric and sew them together right here, so that I end up with the full pattern piece. This is the most excited I've been about a project in a long time. The lining is finished. The exact same process as the coat. Basically, it's the same item, just made out of lining fabric. So now the next step is, of course, to join these two together and attach the lining to the coat, which shouldn't actually be too complicated. It goes a little something like this. Although I should probably... No, I'm gonna have to flip this inside out at some point. So it's not actually as simple as that, but you can get a bit of an idea of what this is going to look like. I am very pleased with this unintentional, almost perfect pattern matching at the collar here that I wasn't expecting, but just kind of happened. I like that. Very excited to join the lining to the outer bits and then to finally choose some buttons to put on this. I'm really excited about that as well, because I feel like buttons can change the entire look of garments. So it's quite an important decision, but yeah. Let's insert the lining first. is in. I have pressed the coat. Color looking wonderful. Very happy with how that came out. There's one thing I'm kind of struggling with, and that is the hem. You may have noticed all throughout the sewing process, basically, the very front panels have been significantly longer than all the rest of them. And I thought that that would somehow kind of become clear as to why that is, why they are longer. Because I feel like I cut out the right length on the pattern. It's not marked. There are 2 lines on the bottom and both of them just say lengthen here. And the pattern piece is for view A and B. But I did notice that view B is slightly longer than view A. So maybe one of them, like I should have cut the shorter one, and that one is meant for view A. But yeah, it's not marked on the pattern. So I ended up going in and cutting it shorter after all. And now it's shorter than all the other ones. So I think what I'm gonna do, I already sewed this, like stitched this up. What I think I'm gonna do is unpick the seams on the side panels, like just the 3 of them, or maybe just these 2 actually. These 2 on the front side. Unpick the seams and kind of taper it out from here to here. And I think that would pretty much solve the issue and look pretty cute. So it's going to be slightly longer in the back than the front. So as for the buttons, I have a few options. I think I already have a favorite, but I have these ones that are some beautiful gold buttons with a little bit of texture on top. I feel like those could work, but I actually think I prefer this. Wooden buttons. I just feel like these would be a bit more casual, which is more my style than the gold for this garment, I think. It's just a really simple, basic, classic button. So let me start by tapering out this hemline. Then we can do the buttons. I'm gonna have to attach the lining to the wrists and the hem on the bottom here. And that's gonna be the coat done. I just found out my sewing machine won't make buttonholes on this because the fabric is too thick and it's not feeding through the foot presser thing. So I'm gonna have to do them by hand, which I don't have time for. Luckily there's only 3 of them, so it shouldn't take too long, but still, this is a very time-consuming job that I wasn't counting on. So a little bit stressed right now, but it's okay. We're just gonna do it. Alright, so I did a lot of hand sewing over the weekend. That does mean we have buttonholes, hand sewn buttonholes. Also, last week's video went up as I was working on this, and someone mentioned they were going to make this pattern and do bound buttonholes, and I was like, why do I always forget that those exist until it's too late? I might at some point later in time go back and do bound buttonholes as well, because that is just a brilliant idea. It would look so much better than my hand-stitched buttonholes, but I feel like they're pretty inconspicuous. So I also attached the lining on the inside of the coat as well as the sleeves. So we're all good there. One last thing I want to do before I attach the buttons is, I think this edge right here and the collar as well is pretty puffy. I have pressed it, but it's still pretty puffy. I think this would really benefit from a little bit of top stitching. So I'm gonna just go over and sew close to the edge here, and I'm hoping that that kind of presses it together a little bit more, makes those layers come together a bit more nicely. And then I'm just gonna go ahead, attach these pretty wooden buttons, and then it's gonna be finished. Can't believe it. I've been working on this for so long, watching the new Critical Role campaign for, just sewing away, but we're almost there. Almost there. is this not so much better than a very chunky maternity skirt? This is just so much better, and I'm gonna get so much more use out of this. It's just, I don't know what to say. I am so incredibly happy with it. It turned out exactly as I had hoped. The material is just perfect with it. I'm very happy that the lining worked out. I'm very happy that the pattern matching worked out. One thing about it, I do think at this shorter length, maybe the skirt or like the bottom portion of it could have been a little bit less full, because the fullness of it, I don't know, I feel like it doesn't add that much to the garment, and it makes it fold kind of weirdly, but I don't mind it too much. It twirls, which is lovely. I am very happy with the length of the sleeves. I feel like it's a little oversized, which is good because then I can fit sweaters underneath. I quite like these buttons, although I do tend to change my mind on buttons, but that's okay because those are really easy to replace by anything else if I do change my mind on those. I adore the collar. I think that came out so pretty. Oh, and the top stitching was 100% the way to go, because I feel like now it just looks so much more finished and professional. Actually flat, not just poofy as if I couldn't iron it, which is true. But this really helps to kind of flatten it a little and make it look more finished. So very happy with that as well. I like that it has pockets, and I pretty much like everything about it. I like it worn open as well. I feel like this coat could lean very casual. It could definitely be dressed up more. It goes fantastically with my kind of dark academia vibe that I tend to wear a lot in autumn. And overall, I just think this is going to be a wonderful addition to my wardrobe and my collection of outerwear. I wonder how warm it's going to be. I'm definitely going to wear it today just to get a bit of a feel for how warm this is, but we won't know for sure until it gets a bit colder out. I feel like it might even work as a winter coat if I wear a scarf with it. I am very glad that I was able to repurpose this material into something that it is much more suited to. Oh, one last thing, those ties that I did for the skirt, I still have them, and I'm kind of like, part of me is wondering, would this work? Just because I already have them, would this work as a belt? Oh, this one's way too long. Maybe the other one? Does this coat even need a belt? I feel like this one will probably look better with that. Oh. That is actually not bad. I don't mind the look of that. That's actually really cute as well. And the longer one, I think this is going to be too long, but let's give it a try. Definitely too long. I could make a comically large bow with it. Okay, I'm gonna save these and think about this, consider this, and I might go back and make some belt loops because this is actually really cute. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here with me and following along on this journey of transforming a less successful DIY project into a much more successful piece. I really hope you enjoyed following along. Hope you have a lovely weekend ahead of you, and I will see you back here again next week.